Hi, Simon here, GM8NYB, continuing with the CR100 renovation. The last video I was looking at some of the capacitors that were left, the 1UFs and one that I think was a 0.01 that goes into the radar interference suppression modification. Now I had cut off the top of this one and I used pipe cutters. Unfortunately it didn't really cut very neatly. But I got the top off it and then I couldn't get the insides out. Tried poking them out, it just made a big mess. So I went outside today with a propane gun, Dremel, heated up this was intact, heated up the solder joint here and managed to pop that off enough to get the cutters in to cut the internal cable. Now the rest of it was stuck, so I dropped the whole lot into boiling water, a little dish with boiling water in it. Same with this one, which had the top removed already. And these are the cases. This is the one I managed to pop the solder off. This is the capacitor that was in it. And with this one I just unsoldered it, popped the top off and managed to extract that. Still a bit waxy in there. This one also came out quite easily once I got heated up. And then this is the inside of this 0.01. I think it's 0.1 or 0.01, I have to check. It's pretty dirty, so it's hard to read. But if I remember rightly, I think it's 0.1. And these are 1UF, non-polarized. That's the cap. It got a bit charred, but it's not melted, fortunately. So that was the small one. Right, so I'm going to give these a clean up and repack them now then. This is the 1UF that came out. Silver paper wax, separating the two terminals. These are the modern ones. These are rated at 630 volts. The original one here was 450, 1UF, so these are going to go in. So somehow I'm going to have to fit them in there. But first of all, I'm going to give them a good clean up. One other thing. Remember this one here? It's got a lug on one side. Some white on. Lug on one side, and the other one was broken off. Well, I managed to file a very little groove in there, and got some solder on it, and soldered this little. I was lying around. That's off an old set of brushes, but it looks quite convenient. So that'll do, maybe if I use this. Still not sure where I'm going to reuse these on the mains. Right, we'll give these a clean up and continue then packing it out with the new capacitors. This is the capacitor all cleaned out. So you can see in there's see the top of a screw there that's soldered in. It's just the brass screw that holds the capacitor in place on the chassis. Now what I've done is cleaned up this edge here with emery. I'm going to try and reattach the lid. I just did this one earlier. I cleaned it up. This is the one that I used the wire, so the pipe cutter. Oops. I used the pipe cutter, and it sort of mangled the end there. So what I've done is I went round and trimmed off just a couple of millimeters all the way around to get a nice flush fit, and I cleaned it up with emery, put the capacitor in and soldered it on, and it works. So I'm going to do this 1UF. What I noticed was very thin strand on the back of the on the bottom of the capacitor was soldered to the side wall. So I'm going to do something similar with this piece of wire, make it flexible and it can bend down with this. But the first thing I'm going to do is solder that onto there. So I just put a slight angle on it. So I'll tin the capacitor. And hopefully should stick on. Doing this without my magnifying glass. Okay, so nicely cut off the slide. Right, so prepare this piece of scrap piece of wire that was lying around. I'll do what I want to do. Fairly a lot of heat on the solder knife for this little next bit. Turn that up. Right, I'm going to just try and get a blob of solder on the edge of the this is tin, the actual case of the capacitor. Okay, prepare the other end of the wire. Okay. This should hopefully solder onto here. Okay. Okay, fold that end over it, make a hook. I'm not bothered about this short into the case because it's soldered to the case. So I want to get a good mechanical joint on it first before I solder it. Remove the rest. Now, in it goes. Getting this back together now. Fitted quite nicely. the soldering iron fairly hot. A blob of solder on it just to hold it together. Just to blob a bit on there. Okay, and on the other end there, then I can run around the outside. Okay. Hopefully this shows up on here. Run the solder around the rim, seal it up. Got the soldering iron up at 450 for this. Last little bit to do. There we go. Take that down again. Warm, but that's my 1 UF capacitor. Let's clean off the right, I'll test it. One UF, close as it can be. Get that to, they are 0.999 flash between 0.999 and 1 UF. You see it there? Quite happy with that. So that's the 630 volt. That's the other one I did. Now the other one left to do. This has needs a good clean up. This is for the. It got quite charred when I was trying to solder this bee. This is used in the RIS, so it's not really necessary for the operation of the radio. And I looked around for a suitable capacitor to go in it. That's something else. So most of the capacitors are done. These 1 UFs. This one, the one I did yesterday, the 2 leads, and the 2 25 UFs. So that's a little family of capacitors there. And this one here. There's another one like this in the box which I did earlier in the restoration. Okay, thanks for watching, and that's most of the capacitors done. I think there's only this one to do at some point. Okay, thank you for watching, and catch you next time. Bye bye.